The Tony Awards are coming June 12th on CBS TV, and they made history when they announced this year's nominations, crowning a play about the history of this nation with a record-breaking 16. Joining me in the Adorama Live Theater in Soho for this edition of the WCBS Conversation, New York Post theater critic Elisabeth Vincentelli. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you.
And New York Daily News critic Joe Dziemianowic. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you are both voting members of the New York Drama Critics Circle, so you all have a say in this year's awards and awards every year.
Yes, we do.
They've already labeled these the Hamiltonies. Someone did anyway, I think a competitor, right? Will Hamilton take everything?
Not everything, but a lot.
Yeah?
A lot. All the big ones, I would say.
Frankly, where they'll definitely won't, they're going to win some categories, but they're ultimately going to have to lose in some categories because featured actor, they have three actors up for the same prize. So two of those guys are just going to have to clap, and who knows? You don't know whether those three actors, Jonathan Groff and Daveed Diggs and the third nominee, maybe they'll split the votes. Who knows? Chris Jackson is the third nominee. Maybe Christopher Fitzgerald in a fluke. But as Elisabeth said, it's going to be a great big night. We're going to be hearing the Hamilton theme music again and again and again, and it's funny, you know, I'm a big fan of the show. I went back last night because they invited Tony voters back. And moment to moment, the show delivers. It's a thrilling show. As far as watching the Tony Awards, the best years are the ones where there are horse races. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, in a way, go Hamilton. In a way, though, you know, as far as the viewing public watching the Tonys, that element of surprise is sort of gone.
Well, I mean, I completely agree. I think if you watch the show for the suspense, there's going to be none. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pretty much. But, you know, we're going to have, there's a lot of good shows this year, so we'll have great numbers from really good shows. That's always something to look forward to. It's great to see Broadway gets on the national stage. Yeah. And Hamilton has done a lot for that, actually. It's very rare that a Broadway show makes national news. I can't even remember the last time that happened. It's incredibly rare. So it's wonderful. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda, the creator, has been hitting the talk shows. He's a great guest too. He's very entertaining. He's a very funny guy, and I think it's really good for the industry.
Yeah. You mentioned the support. I mean, I call them supporting actors.
Sure.
Other terminology for it at the Tonys, but also up against each other from Hamilton, Lin-Manuel Miranda and Leslie Odom Jr. Does Leslie Odom Jr., who plays Aaron Burr, have a chance at beating Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Oh, he has a great chance.
I think he does.
It's a great chance.
Well, because actually, I think quite a few people agree that acting is not Lin-Manuel Miranda's strong point.
Yeah. He has so much heart.
Let's put it this way. There's a lot of heart, but in terms of acting, Leslie Odom is a lot better, much better actor.
Yeah, your heart breaks a little bit when Lin, he's a good actor.
He's
There's
good.
a difference between good, no emoticon.
He's adorable,
and,
I think.
Well, true enough.
He's charming.
But Leslie Odom Jr. does something pretty incredible. You watch that show, seeing it again last night, you realize the structure of that show. It is Jean Valjean and Valjean following each other. That's what he's created with Burr and Hamilton. Their lives thread together for years and years and years, meeting and antagonizing each other. He's created these two great characters, and he's given, I look at, you know, writers do this amazing thing for actors. They give them, as far as I look at it, it's one way. He's given him this amazing gift in this character. You know, he's given
Well, he also gave himself an amazing gift. I mean, he didn't forget himself. I actually am among the people who think that he should not even be on stage. I don't think he's that good an actor. I hear great things. I would love actually to see
Javier,
the actor who does I think he does 1 or 2 performances a week.
He does the matinees.
Does the matinees. I hear great things about him. But maybe Lin-Manuel Miranda had done enough for Hamilton and didn't have to also star in it. I don't know. Well, he has his fans, obviously. He's very popular. I'm not convinced that was the best choice. I mean, at one point you have got to say, maybe someone else could do it better, although I don't think this kind of thought ever enters Lin-Manuel Miranda's head. But that somebody could do it better, I don't think he ever thinks that. Yeah, I mean, that is, well, in terms of the Tonys, that is competitive race, actually, that particular one.
Yeah, because you had Alex Brightman and other strong...
From School of Rock.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, and Danny Burstein, who is like a Broadway pro. He's been working his tail off for years and years and years. He plays, he's the lead in Fiddler on the Roof. And who knows, again, I don't know whether the votes will split. But, you know, I'd love to see Danny Burstein. Last year, you know, the women's race, and again, it's a different race this year. You know, Kelly O'Hara, always the Tony bridesmaid, won, and it was just great. And Danny, same sort of thing. The good news, as Elisabeth said, we're going to get to see lots of great talent on stage. And any one of these guys, you know, perhaps not Lynn as much, you know, I think they're in the race because they earned it.
Are there any other exciting competitive races that don't involve Hamilton that we should keep an eye out for?
No, because every race involves Hamilton this year.
Well, the non-musicals.
Well, not the plays, right? But
Shuffle Along tried its best, right? to not have to compete against Hamilton,
Right.
but lost out in that effort.
Anybody who'd seen the show kind of thought, what? That was never in any way a revival, ever.
Yeah, I think we have to explain maybe a bit that the issue was that Shuffle Along was trying to be considered a revival because it's inspired by a
1921 musical called Shuffle Along.
But they pretty much created a new show out of the old one.
They did.
It's not a revival, it's a new show. And the whole point was to not be against Hamilton because nobody wants to be against Hamilton. It's a losing proposition. Yeah. But you know, the good news is, and I think it's a good news about the health of Broadway right now, is that there's a lot of musicals that open this spring that are not Hamilton, obviously, and they're doing very well.
Like what? What will we see next year at the Tonys?
Waitress is doing very well.
Well, no, I mean they were all eligible for the Tonys now, so they're not going to get a Tony this year. But I think like a show like Waitress is doing incredibly well. They're doing great box office. They got really good reviews, I think.
They did.
They're doing well, so a show can survive without, you know, Hamilton is not sucking up all the oxygen.
There has to be an alternative. I think a blockbuster does good things for Broadway, not just at the Richard Rodgers, where 1,400 people cram in and just kind of go crazy and will spend thousands of dollars to see a show.
Thousands.
There's only 1,400 plus seats. So where do those other people go? There's other good alternatives. Now, I was mixed on a lot of these shows, but, you know, American Psycho, there's some good stuff in there. Perhaps less so with Tuck Everlasting, perhaps less so with Bright Star, which did squeak out a nomination for Best Musical. And even, you know, I wasn't that high on Waitress, but when there's a show that, you know, you can't get into, there are alternatives, and that's always been the case, and a great hit is always a good thing for Broadway.
Let's talk about celebrity actors on Broadway. Jennifer Hudson didn't hide her disappointment when she was not nominated for The Color Purple. Do you guys think she deserved a nomination, and was it appropriate for her to complain when she was not?
She can say, I mean, she's free to say whatever she wants. I think it's healthy. You know, if people are disappointed, I mean, sure. And
the thing about
it's disappointing, yes.
Yeah. The thing about The Color Purple, the show, which is based on the book and was made into a movie, tells the story of Celie, this downtrodden woman, and Shug Avery, who is played by Jennifer Hudson, this glamorous singer. So the show, the revival staged by John Doyle, mirrored that dynamic exactly. There was something really terrific about the fact that Celie, Cynthia Erivo, who's she? Then you have Shug, Jennifer Hudson. Everybody knows. She won an Oscar. She's got the biggest voice in the world. So that dynamic was right there. Hudson is a terrific singer. Her acting is, I'm still, even with an Oscar, I think it's a work in progress. The whole thing, some people had tweeted, oh, you know, Tony for Best Candor goes to Jennifer Hudson. But you have to realize, you know, she quickly deleted it. She's going to be playing Motormouth Maybelle in Hairspray in December, and somebody had said, yeah, Motormouth Hudson, because she quickly deleted it. You know, I'm all for it. You know what? Speak your mind. Tell your truth, whatever it is. And then, but, you know, delete it? I don't know.
The thing is, you know, there's, what, like 4 or 5 slots?
Yeah.
It's
competitive.
It's competitive. I mean, it's so competitive when you see that someone like Otto McDonald,
who I was going to ask you about next, Audra McDonald, who's a
not
perennial
nominated,
favorite,
that tells you how competitive it is.
Right. And back to the Hudson race, I think Elisabeth and I would both agree that I don't want anybody messing with Renee Elise Goldsberry because she's going to win that category.
She is.
better.
She's going to win the
her.
category.
Oh
Well,
my gosh. We should tell
she's
everyone
got-
who she is.
This
She's
is
in
wishful
Hamilton
thinking. This
and
is
plays the
wishful
sister
thinking. Really? Oh.
of...
You think she's going to win it?
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, well, I'm very happy about that. So
Yeah.
You don't think so, Elisabeth?
no, I'm
Right.
always prepare myself for disappointment because I prefer good surprises to bad ones.
Well, who else would win it?
She's terrific. She's completely incredible.
The thing about Renee Elise Goldsberry, Elisabeth, we saw Two Gentlemen of Verona in Central Park.
Maybe 10 years ago?
In 2005, and she was in a cast that included Oscar Isaac, superstar now, Rosario Dawson, everybody knows, and Norm Lewis. And at the time, I remember she started singing Night Letter, and everybody around us just went, "Who is she?"
She was...
And so I think we both have been saying she deserves everything. And, she's gone on to do great work in so many things. She was in Good People on Broadway where she acted. She did
She was on The
Getting
Good
My
Wife,
Act Together.
But she was also on The Good Wife on TV. I mean, she's worked, but I feel like she hasn't gotten
Her due.
the break. People should know her name. She's just so incredible. She's got everything, and she's always been bubbling. And I hope...
I did say to Lin-Manuel Miranda, because Hamilton won the Drama Critics Circle Award last year because it opened off Broadway. And I said, thank you for giving Renee something worthy of her talent. He's given her an amazing showcase.
The great thing about Lin-Manuel Miranda, he has a great sense of who's going to... of casting. And I don't know how involved he is in that, but I'm going to venture that he is very much involved.
He seems to be involved in
But
every single aspect of that show.
But the casting is so spot on.
Yeah.
And not just in this show, but in the previous one too, in the Heights. It's
Yeah.
great casting. Andrea Burns, I mean, how great was she?
Yeah.
So he's really has a great, and casting those two, Philippa Sue and Renee Elise Goldsberry as the Scaler sisters is a stroke of genius.
Yeah.
It really is.
You really believe they're sisters, and they're of different races and cultures.
Oh,
but
they're
just
incredible.
They are sisters.
Yeah.
But you asked who could beat her. Her competition is Danielle Brooks, Color Purple, who people know from Orange is the New Black. Jane Krakowski, who has won a Tony already. Everybody knows her from 30 Rock, and Kimmy Schmidt, right? Yeah. Jennifer Simard, who's an unknown, who gives a hilarious performance in Disaster, playing this nutty, crazy, fantastic nun. Her nomination is her award. And Adrienne Warren, who's in Shuffle Along. Again,
no, you're right.
a new talent. It's maybe you never know. I think Renee will get her due.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, Renee Elise Goldsberry would never not be singing. She's got this voice. It's just...
You can tell we're total fans.
Yeah, no,
I
make...
And David Diggs.
Just,
I make no...
Gosh, I
well,
love him.
Liz was saying, talking about the Hamilton effect. They're on talk shows. Last night, David Diggs was on with Fallon. And before that, Tom Kail, the director. When is the last Broadway music?
Jonathan Groff came on Fallon, too, I think.
They've all been.
Yeah.
And Leslie Odom Jr. was on Colbert, a month ago or so.
They're just
amazing.
Yeah, they've kind of lit a fire under all these really remarkable actors who've gotten the showcase that actors dream of and so seldom comes,
We're talking about actors of color. There's obviously no Tony So White issue here, correct? Has this always been that the Tonys have been a diverse lot of people?
No, not always, but I would say on average. I mean, I think it says something that the most rewarded actor on Broadway in terms of Tonys is an African-American woman.
Right.
They're not doing so great at the Oscars, like actresses, but at the Tonys, who's got the most? It's Audra McDonald.
Right.
So she's got 6.
Yeah, it's funny.
I think, and you can say, well, she's an outlier. It's the tree that, a tree does not make a forest. But it's still, I think it's sending out a message. And I would say overall, people like Viola Davis, they've always been very, especially I would say in the past 7, 8 years, the Tonys have really surged ahead of the Oscars, and without making a big deal out of it.
Yeah, why is that? Why is it not an issue on Broadway?
It might have to do with the stories that are told, and maybe they embrace more characters who are of color.
And I think maybe it's easier also to cast people. I think maybe it's easier to quote unquote buy race blind casting, because Audra McDonald has won Tonys for. I mean, I think she was nominated. I mean, was she nominated for 100 and
She was
Degrees in the
nominated for
Shade?
110 in the Shade.
Which is not like specifically an African American role.
No.
So you can. I think the theater is a little bit more open to.
I think just the nature of it. It forces you to. They invite you to experience their world. You know, you look at next season. We have Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812.
Right.
Now, Philippa Sue, who's an actress that we talked about, who is in Hamilton now. He plays the
American.
wife. And she was originally Natasha.
Playing this Russian girl.
That actress is an act. She's a black actress.
The new one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's that, and you look at Harry Potter in London. Hermione is played by a black actress. I don't know whether it's the nature of theater where we're asked to come in and spend 2 hours not making believe, but we're invited to experience that world. I don't know. There maybe I will say this, that it's been a really good year for diversity on Broadway. And I've talked about this before, previously, after the Tony nominations, I spoke to Leslie Odom Jr. And, you know, he's reluctant to say, great, because the point is this, that this is something, it's a good reminder this year, but we need to have the same thing next year, and next year, and next year. It doesn't stop just because, wow, look at all those different colored faces, and I'll look at those kind of different spelled names. Do you know what I mean? It's not, that was a 2015-16 phenomena. This year, we're just going to let it go. So I think that's a really interesting point.
Let's talk about dramas. Who do you guys pick for Best Play?
I think I'd pick somebody. I picked The Humans. I really love The Humans, and I think that you're talking about up for Best Play.
I think The Humans is going to win.
Yeah, we've got Eclipsed by Danae Guerrera, who's known for her work as Michonne on The Walking Dead. The Humans, which is by a young rising star, Stephen Karam. The Father, which was a French import about a man grappling with Alzheimer's, and then King Charles, which is the third, which imagines a post Elizabeth England.
I think The Humans is going to win this one because there's the sense that Stephen Karam, the author, has been nurtured by the New York theater community. He's really, he started by doing plays in the roundabout, smaller theater. It's literally underground. It's like 2 floors down.
It's smaller than this stage.
It's tiny.
And there's not a bad seat.
There's like 50 seats.
Well,
so he started
stools,
there.
because you have to sit up.
He started there, and then the roundabout gave him their bigger off-Broadway house, and then, he's been really nurtured, and he's been climbing up the ladder, and it's a wonderful production that transferred very quickly from off-Broadway to Broadway with this same cast.
He's been a Pulitzer finalist twice. He's the real deal. He's a very good writer.
And I think there were some reservations. The big rival is Eclipsed, and I think a lot of people were excited to see. It's a play about war brides in Africa, and starring Lupita Nyong'o. And I think a lot of people were excited to see a play dealing with that topic on Broadway. It's just not the kind of stuff you see on Broadway very much. But the play itself was probably not quite as well written as The Humans is, just in terms of craft, I would say. I really like Eclipse. It's a very solid production. It's well acted, but I think The Humans really dig a little deeper than Eclipse does.
And how about the celebrity factor in so many of the dramas? Does that affect anything? I guess it gets people to tune into the show, right?
In plays, you're talking about?
I think, or the Tony Awards show.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, right, yeah.
Because I bet 9 out of 10 people or fewer have heard of The Humans.
No, you're
the
right.
dramas,
obviously, and
everyone knows Hamilton. Everyone knows.
I know some people are really like, oh, they're trying to get celebrities. It's gratuitous. And I'm sorry, but if you're going to be a purist, you're going to die a purist, because nobody is going to watch. And if you get out of your little New York bubble for a second, you realize that you're deluded in thinking that people outside of the tri-state area or Chicago or LA are paying attention, because they're not. So if you get a celebrity to introduce an award, why not? I mean, it's not harming Broadway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know they haven't announced a lot of the presenters, but if Viola Davis, now a star, a bona fide star, and a Tony winner, who was actually doing that rarest of rare things, actually recreating a role on film that she won a Tony for on Broadway. You know, typically that's, you know, it goes, always Meryl Streep gets the ask, no matter what. But, you know, here's the thing. You talk about celebrity. They've already started in the really good spot with James Corden. Right. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. You know, after One Man, Two Governors, you know, he was hilarious.
He won a Tony. Right?
But here's the thing. When he was here the first time, what was it, 2000, I don't know, early 2000s, that he and the group of young guys were here to do the History Boys.
Oh, right.
And it was so great. I remember I was in the audience of the Tony Awards, and I was seated right behind those guys because Francis de la Tour, who played a teacher in the show, was nominated, and Samuel Barnett, who was one of the young guys, was also nominated. So they had this rowdy pack of guys. Dominic Cooper, who's going to be starring in Preacher, and James Corden, and Jamie Parker, who I guess is the Harry Potter. All these guys have gone on to do really good things. Corden and the gang were the best cheerleaders. When Francis de la Tour won, it was awesome. So he loves theater. You know, he's a perfect pick. He fits. He's got celebrity, and you know, now the only question is what celebrities are going to do karaoke, whether it's going to be on the subway or a taxi cab or what. So
they are going to do it.
They're going to do it.
How rare is it to have someone like James Corden who can host a show?
Neil Patrick Harris is the same thing.
But that's the presenters that we're talking about. Then there's the issue of celebrities in shows.
Yeah.
And again, some people are like, oh, celebrities in shows, they can't act. Well, no. You know what? Most of them are celebrities for a reason.
Yeah.
They have charisma, they have presence. Why not? And some of them, okay, the skills don't necessarily translate to the stage. It doesn't really work that well for whatever reason. Yeah. And others work well, and others also are willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
I love what Michelle Williams recently said, you know, I love Broadway, I want to be here, I want to work hard, and I want to be accepted by this community.
She wants to earn her spot.
Right.
She's
Yes.
great, but we all know she's a hard worker, she's very dedicated to her craft, and her approach.
And somebody who, she not only talks the talk, she walks the walk, because her reviews in Cabaret were not stellar.
No, she could have stayed away for...
She could have said, you know what?
Out of my comfort zone.
If that's what you're going to give me, no thanks. Instead, she came back, threw herself into this gritty play, playing a
really
girl, now a young woman who had been, you know, preyed upon by a sexual predator when she was 12. And you looked at, I think we both agreed that had she debuted with that, we would have said, but it was an amazing performance. It was just came after Cabaret, which she was sort of not as strong.
But you're right. It was really brave of her because it was, what, like a year and a half?
This
2
tiny
years?
young woman with such a thick skin.
She came back after the reviews were, I mean, they were not great.
They were not great.
But, and compared to Julianne Moore, for instance, who did a play maybe 10 years ago, got really bad reviews and has not been bad since, on or off.
I would be surprised to see Julia Roberts back. You know, when she did 3 Days of Rain, she turned it into an event, but she, you know, didn't prove.
It'll be interesting to see Nicole Kidman is coming back in the fall.
Yeah.
And I think her reviews were also kind of average, and that was maybe about 10 years ago as well.
I remember Madonna and Speed the Plow.
That was the 90s, yeah.
But,
oh, wow.
But Madonna's back in England, I think. Didn't she do some theater in England?
Madonna?
Maybe I'm getting
I don't know. I don't think so.
Maybe not.
Let's just talk about one more thing about the show and the Anna Winterization of the whole thing.
Oh,
She'll be back this year, right? To try
to
make
me today. In case you're
I like it.
T-shirt.
It's not quite ready for the Met
My cardigan
Gala, but
by Anna.
yes.
Yeah.
Why do they do that? Have Anna Winter of Vogue kind of glamming everyone up to make it.
You could poo-poo it and you could just roll your eyes, but the good news is that Anna Wintour, the Tony Awards, they follow in such close proximity. You know, where Anna goes, people follow, and that's a good thing. If it's about viewership. Frankly, you know, do these people dress themselves every day? I don't know. Do we really need an Anna Wintour telling you what shoes? But you know what? It adds to the event of it.
I would be really sorry if we lost the idiosyncratic choices that some of the the winners of Display over the years. I personally love it because I loathe the whole princess dress thing, which I think is revolting.
Yeah.
I hate the many cams. I think it's just revolting.
It is kind of gross. If Elisabeth was to cast her
gross.
vote for the best dressed Tony winner, it would have been Frances McDormand and a jean
exactly.
jacket.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
scares me.
That was pushing it a little far, but I do
What
like
did you
the
wear?
fact.
Jean jacket or?
I don't know.
It was.
She was so sour too. It was fantastic.
She's always sour at those shows, isn't she?
She's
you think
great
she's
because
upset
she
when-
does not care.
Yeah.
Honey Badger. She's the Honey Badger of theater. She's great, and I said that with just absolute admiration, by the way, because she does not care.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Everybody's so obsessed. Well, my agent, God, they kind of think about the speech, and then they second guess themselves. I messed up my speech. Frances McDormand does not care, and I completely admire that.
It's refreshing.
It's fantastic.
It is.
And she's not going to wear the princess dress, which again I find so demeaning for
Could you
women.
imagine if she did?
What?
Could you imagine if she had?
It would be. I mean, she would do it like some kind of performance
It's
art
a tough,
thing.
satirical. Yeah.
It would be like the Marina Abramovich take on wearing a dress.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
do
yeah.
you
It would be
guys
so
go
bizarre.
to the show itself? Are you invited?
I have gone in years past, but
No,
now
I-
I file from the office a story for the next day.
I watch it at home.
Yeah.
In the comfort of your PJs and.
I have to say, I love the Tony Awards. Do you? I mean, I really.
Watching
I grew up.
it?
Yeah.
I love watching
I
it.
love it because
I
I don't
love
get to
watching
see
it.
everything. So for me, it's a sampling of
No,
everything that's out
I love
there.
watching it.
and
It's super fun, and I am very happy that they're trying to make it more accessible to more people because I think preaching to the choir is really not a good strategy.
Yeah.
And also, you want theater to be part of the conversation, and you don't want to just talk to your friends and colleagues who are already, in shorthand.
Yeah, which brings us back to Hamilton, because I have to say,
Right.
I'm very curious what number they'll do. They've been very smart. It's like, Book of Mormon before them. We've seen that sort of, it's like Brigadoon. We've seen so few images from it.
Well,
Now, and Hamilton, until the Grammy Awards
Right.
performed on air, nobody had ever seen anything. So I'm curious, what are they gonna?
I have room where it happened in my head. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't
But-
know.
Because it's very catchy.
Right? Or maybe the one where
there's so many
where
earworms.
Hamilton meets Philippa Sue and
Satisfied? Oh.
no, not Satisfied. What's the other one where the stage is kind of rotating and they have the parasols and I don't know. It's just magical. When is that? You saw it last night.
I don't remember I'm trying to remember. She does Helpless just before
Oh,
Satisfied.
Helpless. That.
I don't know if it'll be that. Who knows? I don't think
Yeah.
it'll be that.
The problem is that a good one is the one they did at the Grammys, but they can't do that again.
They can't do that
That was a
again.
really good one for
The
a
opening
TV
number.
show.
Yeah. No, it works.
Yeah.
Because it included everybody, virtually everybody, minus the king. And
Who's
who knows?
amazing and leaving, but we'll
They're
forgive
probably
him
going
and
to
left.
find a way. They work in the king.
Yeah,
They
Rory
may-
O'Malley's
Do you
in
think
it
they
now.
would do?
And this-
They could do a medley.
Yeah, one of the great strengths of Hamilton is that they've cast it without stars. Now, one might say, yes, Jonathan Groff is a star, but nobody heard of Leslie Odom Jr. Nobody knows who Philippa Sue is. Nobody, sadly, or not enough people know who Renee Elise Goldsberry or Jasmine Cephas Jones. So those actors will all stay as long as it's good for them. They've got a great part, but the next person comes in. I saw it last night with Rory O'Malley, who I'd seen in Book of Mormon. He's terrific. That part is so... He gets so little stage time, but every second is just the best.
It's a showstopper.
It's awesome.
Right?
Yeah, it's
you can
great.
sing it from
3
here
times.
till right.
Yeah.
I want to
times a
thank you
showstopper.
very much to both
Thank
of
you.
you for being with us. New York
thank
Post
you.
critic Elisabeth Vincentelli and New York Daily News critic Joe Dziemianowic. We thank you for being with us at the Adorama Live Theater, and we'll be tuning in to the Tonys to see if your
Yes.
predictions prove true.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
Hamilton is going to win, you think?
Yeah.
It's going to take it all. You know that, Elizabeth.
No, I know. It is. It's going to be incredible.
And it's worth it, and it
And it's
deserves
probably
it.
they're probably opening the box office to like 2020. At
But
this
here's
point.
the other thing. Well, that's, you say, will it win everything? It's going to win it'll be interesting to see just I keep calling it, we're referring to the Hamilton effect. Hamilton changes everything. There are years when the best score, which is that it's not done on stage, during the performance, during the telecast, is terrible. That may change. You know what I mean? Hamilton may have that muscle. It will be interesting to see.
Do you know that, I mean, it's doing so well that, you know, there's a companion book.
Yes,
and the first
I got it
printing,
for Mother's Day.
Well, keep it preciously because the first print run is it's already sold out, and
Right.
apparently people are already selling it on eBay for like $700.
I bought one at Barnes and Noble, and I read the piece that it's all sold out. I said, really? I was in the Barnes and Noble yesterday. There were stacks.
Oh, really?
I called the store the next
but
morning.
on
They were
Sunday,
gone.
There were
really?
none
They're
Sunday,
gone.
and they
They're
came back
gone.
to my local Barnes & Noble yesterday
They're
also.
gone.
Anyway,
Yeah.
the
Thanks.
Tony Awards,
Wow.
June 12th. Tune in.